Hey there, Emma. So my name's Andrew, and I'm the essay corrector here at IELTSpodcast.com. Each time you submit a set of essays to me, I'll be reading through them sentence by sentence and offering you some grammatical corrections, some suggestions for more precise phrases, as well as talking about how well you responded to the task and how well you strung your sentences together and structured your essay. Already I can see that you have the standard format of an essay, which is good. So you've got the structure, you understand the structure necessary. One thing, there's a couple of points I'd like to make about your introduction, a couple of points I'd like to make about using real-world examples in your body paragraphs, and a few suggestions I have for improving the academic nature of your writing to make it sound more precise and almost scientific. So your introduction, you've kept it simple, which is good, but you have covered all the requirements. So in an introduction, we must paraphrase the question so that all of the question is contained within the introduction. This also serves as a good reference point for later. When we're writing the essay, we can look back to the introduction for an idea of what we need to write about next. Because the general rule is that we raise every point we intend to discuss in the intro, and then we discuss them fully in the body, and then we summarize them again. So we need to cover the requirements of the question, so paraphrase. We then need to give our opinion if it's asked for, but we also need to briefly outline the ideas that we will use down here. So you have the benefits of remaining in one job and the benefits of changing jobs. Now, this is not strictly an answer to the question, simply because this was a to what extent do you agree or disagree? And in an essay which asks to what extent do you agree or disagree, we should state the primary opinion. So although some people believe that it is beneficial to remain in the same employment for life, I strongly disagree. Since changing jobs once in a while, when it's used like this, a while is a single word. I strongly disagree, since changing jobs once in a while improves a person's knowledge and experience. Don't use your in academic writing to refer to your reader. Stay detached. Speak objectively about people and individuals rather than referring to your reader directly. Never address your reader, is what I'm saying. As well as reducing the risk of long-term unemployment, because you've used this here. So this brings me on to my next point. If you strongly disagree, then all you need to do is provide 2 reasons in support of your argument. So you need your first paragraph to be about how changing jobs provides better knowledge and experience than staying in one job. And then your second paragraph can be about reducing the risk of long-term unemployment by staying in one job. Now, my next point, the academic format requires that every point that you raise is fully expanded, so it's thought about in depth, and that it is also supported with a real-world example. Now, in real academic writing, this is done with a study, or we talk about primary and secondary sources. A primary source is a peer-reviewed academic study. A secondary source, it could be a book, a scientific book, or a professional opinion, but nothing less than that is really permitted. But in order to show that our thinking is evidence-based, we are required to use examples to support our points. Now, what we've got here in your body paragraphs is essentially a list of separate reasons This makes it difficult to write in the academic format because you will struggle to come up with examples for every single point that you've made. But primarily, if you believe that switching careers once in a while results in a better experienced employee, then I would expect you to use 2 body paragraphs for that purpose, to support that idea. So if you strongly disagree or strongly agree, you don't need to consider both sides of the argument. Only do that if the question asks you to, which many questions will. There are many questions that will say, some believe this, some believe this. Discuss both views and give your opinion. But if it says to what extent do you agree or disagree, then the easiest thing to do is to take a strong side. I strongly agree or I strongly disagree. And then you only have to do support 1, support 2. If you somewhat agree, if you fall in the middle, then you need to do one side, the other side. But in an agree-disagree question, it's much easier to take a strong position either side. I strongly agree or I strongly disagree. And then you just need 2 body paragraphs in support of your idea. So I will correct the grammar in these paragraphs. But what needs to be done is, I would suggest using 4 sentences to satisfy the academic requirement. 1 sentence to introduce the idea, a second sentence to expand that idea fully with specifics, explain it. How does it happen? Why does it happen? And then a third sentence with an example to support your statement. It should really support the second sentence. So the first sentence is a topic sentence. The second sentence is a specifics sentence where the core of the idea is contained. The third sentence supports that idea with a real-world example related to it. And then the final sentence can be used to explain how this relates back to the question that you were asked. What is the result? What's the consequence? Do that twice. 4 sentences, introduce, expand, support, and explain, and then you may conclude. But let's do some grammar. On the one hand, it is often believed that if people stay at the same job their whole life, so what we could do here is get rid of that and say, I think this would be better as in as well. On the one hand, it is often believed that staying in the same job will increase chances of promotion as long-standing employees will be considerably more experienced than we can say newer, but I don't like that, so they're newer colleagues, I was going to say. But they're more recently recruited colleagues or workmates. In addition, by remaining with the same employer, workers will have the advantage of knowing everybody, a well-established professional network, which, for example, makes it easier to ask for a favour at the right time from the right person. Fine. So we could say, moreover, we could just say, moreover, affinity with the company increases over time. Which can result in or which can bolster one's confidence in, really we should use one's again, which can bolster one's confidence in one's professional career. Like this. This is the Queen's English. We use one instead of we or I or you. So this is now looking actually slightly better, but don't forget that this is in support of this primary opinion, and we have agreed with the other opinion. So we should really be considering two things regarding the secondary opinion which you support. On the other hand, some people think that there is a, don't say huge, huge is a American informal term. Some people think that there is a large increase in experience and knowledge to be obtained by switching careers once or more, and I agree. Changing employment can broaden their horizons. Just that. Changing employment can broaden horizons, which can cause people to realise that there is no clear-cut way to solve a problem, but different approaches to achieve the same goal are possible. For me, this is not very clear. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I would talk about maybe that it can develop lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is the ability to think outside the box, the ability to look at a problem from multiple perspectives, and switching jobs, getting a variety of experience is essential for the development of lateral thinking. Furthermore, by starting at a new firm, people get to meet new colleagues and to expand their social and work-related circle. These new contacts can be used later in life to increase the chances of promotion. Again, we need to support our statements with examples, otherwise it's just opinion. Finally, there is an increased risk of staying unemployed by remaining with the same employer if the company goes bankrupt. So this isn't fully expanded. You would need to explain this point fully. How does that happen? I mean, I know that it's because a person with experience in one industry, in one company, will only be able to apply their skills to a very limited range of other endeavours, whereas someone with a wide range of skills will have many more options. But these are the sorts of things we need to talk about if we want to raise points like this. In conclusion, while people may vary in their opinions, I believe that switching careers once in a while results in a better experienced employee. That's good. But yeah, so we need to make sure that we answer, that we understand that there are different types of IELTS questions. Agree, disagree. So to what extent do you agree or disagree? Discuss both views and give your opinion. Causes and solutions, or problem and solutions. Each one requires only 2 body paragraphs, but it's either in support of an agreement or a disagreement, one view and then the other, problems and solutions. Or sometimes you will be asked a direct question, which will ask you to fully explore an idea that you have. But let's move on to your task 1. This will this will get easier as we go on, by the way. There tends to be, at the start of these sorts of courses, quite a number of corrections, but don't worry about it. What we hope to see is a reduction in the number of errors each time. But let's move on to your task 1 and see how you did there. So the primary misunderstanding here is that casualties does not mean deaths. It just means people infected by bird flu. People affected by bird flu. Not everyone dies from bird flu. So the graph illustrates the number of people... No, actually... No, we will do that. And I would use globally here. The graph illustrates the yearly, annual. The graph illustrates the annual number of people infected with bird flu globally from 1990 to 2000. The data is provided by the World Health Organization. Overall, a significant increase in... We have increases in things. A significant increase in casualties was seen in the 11-year period. In particular, almost a third more people contracted. If we say contract, but with the emphasis on this part, contracted, then it means to acquire. But it means specifically to acquire an illness. So if you can contract bird flu, or you can contract HIV, or you can contract any number of diseases. Almost a third more people contracted bird flu in 2000 as compared to 1990. Good. The first 5 years of the decade saw a steady rise of infections caused by bird flu. Oh, okay. This is just because I included saw here. So the first 5 years of the decade saw a steady rise of infections caused by bird flu, from slightly more than 120,000 deaths, we'll use a comma, not a full stop there, in 1990, to just above 140,000 people infected in 1994. Furthermore, this upward trend accelerated in the following years with a dramatic rise in casualties in 1997 as compared to 1995. The former almost 180,000 and the latter just above 140,000 cases. We can talk about medical cases of infections as well. In contrast, it's the number of casualties, not the amount of. Remember countable and uncountable nouns. In contrast, the number of casualties in the last 4 years of the 90s remained relatively steady at around 180,000 yearly bird flu casualties in the world. Stay consistent with your units of measurement. Oops. We must vary our language so that it's not boring and it's not repetitive, but numbers and units of measurement must be consistent throughout. So in contrast, the number of casualties in the last few years. Okay, now we're good. So you actually got the structure of these perfect. We start with a definition of the graph, general observations, and then detail. So well done. You've also got a discussion of trends in here, which is more of a sign of a Band 8 piece of writing. So I think by the end of this course, we should be aiming to have you on at least a 7.5 in IELTS writing. But I'll send this over to you now. Well done on these, and I'll look forward to your next pieces. Have a great day.